Hello, space pirates. Today I'm going to talk you through my latest game in the Infinity IGL League, in the Casual League, which is a 20x20 matchup. And we have a matchup here against my PanO versus my opponent playing Jing. The mission is Calibrate Antennas, where you have to synchronize with the antennas. You get a -3 malus on the whip roll if you're not a specialist. Otherwise, you get a +3. And for every turn, it gets 3 points worse. So a specialist is +3 in the first round, 0 in the second round, and -3 in the third round. So this also applies to a non-specialist. Is in the first round -3, -6, and -9. The second objective is to map the enemy deployment zone. You need to get a specialist, or no, you need to get somebody into the deployment zone and do a whip -6 roll. If you are a specialist operative or forward observer, it's a straight whip roll. We get 3 objective points for the center antenna. We get 2 objective points each for the flank ones and 3 objective points for mapping the enemy deployment zone. So this is the center antenna, and these 2 are the ones that worth only 2 points. So my opponent won the dice roll for initiative and decided to go second straight, which is a good call for the mission. Connecting to the antennas gives you a lot of opportunity. If you go second, you can make a swing in the end if you manage to survive the alpha strike. And I was able to pick deployment for that. So my opponent had to deploy first, but go second. So I knew what was coming. And I decided to deploy on the red side, because I have this nice spot for my sniper over here. I have a Hexa sniper in hidden deployment, and he has a long line over there and a nice fire lane over there for some gotcha moves. And according to that, I also have the tick ballon, which works very nicely with these buildings, and it's climbing plus, so he can gain a lot of overwatch there. And beside that, I can pretty much cover my deployment zone very well. So I thought this deployment zone is better for me. I can cover 2 objectives with that. If I have to go first, I thought this would be worth a lot. So I decided to go on the red side and deploy second. My opponent had to deploy first. He did hold back his Sujian. And beside that, he deployed a camo token, which probably is his lieutenant. Flash pulse on this side, covering some short fire lanes, which look perfectly fine. We have 2 Shaolins in group 2, one over there to get smoke in this flank, and another Shaolin over there to get smoke on this flank. Beside that, we have an arrow for a Long Ya. Probably this might be a mine with him. So he's covering some nice area around around this objective. So nice deployment for the second group. Beside that, we have the first group, which contains of 2 camo tokens, probably or maybe Guyang with a mine layer, maybe not. We have a Tiangao hacker. He decided to not use the holo mask, so I knew already it's a killer hacker. He deploys an Hasien HMG with an MSV2. This synergizes very well with the Shaolins. Shaolins in group 2, Hasien in group 1, so they can provide smoke, and he can pull off the smoke trick to force me some bad odds on shoots. So that's what he's meant for. We have the TR bot over there, which I personally don't like too much. In my games I placed him here because he has perfect range over there and perfect range over there, but here we already have the long yar, so this would be blocking this line of sight. But here he has this very long range shot, so it's possible for me to outrange him. And over here he's in bad range as well, so he's not that well placed from my perspective. Then we have the Celestial Guard in the center with a light grenade launcher. I think he's perfect in the center because the grenade launcher has a longer range than the Shaolin, so he can easily maybe spec fire somewhere over there. That works better than with the smoke grenades, according to the Hasien. So he has basically all the attack vectors covered with smoke, which works fine with the Hasien. He also has the Moonstrucker Engineer to repair his Sijuan. Fine, totally fine. And it's close to the the TR bot, so fine there. One thing I would question is that these two units are very close to each other. So if I can throw grenades or a missile launcher, grenade launcher, this might be very close to each other, so they would both have to dodge. It's a nice target for a template, but I don't have that yet. But against other armies, this might be too close. And then we have two Guangxis left on the flanks, and that was his first deployment, everything that I was seeing. Not much in Overwatch position, so everything hiding quite well. Covering some fire lanes in his deployment zone, but not too much in mine. So this works quite well for my army, because my plan is I have two regulars on each flank with providing a mine to cover my deployment zone, make it difficult for any light infantry unit to get into my deployment zone. Additionally, I have the Beast Hunter who provides a mine in the center, so it should be difficult for anybody with a light infantry to move into my deployment zone without any risks. I have Joan of Arc as a lieutenant. She's way back, hiding. I have the mobility version with the Spitfire. The purpose is to use her in third turn, and I think I need the mobility more in that turn, so this is why I picked mobility version. And she's way back, so Jing doesn't have any pictures, so I'm pretty safe about her. Beside that, I have the Tikbalang for offensive shooting on this side, covered by the Moonstrucker who's close by. Both have climbing plus, so should be doable to probably with a Tikbalang getting on this building, having a lot of fire lanes without a lot of movement necessary. I also have 3 or 4 kind of warbands, which is the Bounty Hunter. He can use this impetuous move to zoom out and do some stuff. I have Liang Kai, which is tough and still can do a lot. So he can use his impetus order as well. I have the Teuton, which I did hold back the Teuton Knight and the Tikbalang. Tikbalang for offensive purpose, didn't know what he did hold back, and the Teuton with the specialist operative, I wanted to use him to grab at least one console at the beginning. So making use of the impetus order to move up the field efficiently. So these are Bounty Hunter, Liang Kai, Teuton are 3 warbands, and I have the Digger. So I basically have the whole area covered by impetus. The idea is, if nobody stands out, to move them up the board and wait there for my opponent to get me. I have the Fishman over here. Now it's not generally the Fishman, it's the Hilot SMG light rocket launcher. This time in a better position. If you move above this crate, he will get line of sight to him. So he has a good range over there and good range over there. So he's covering some nice fire lanes. Additionally, with a TR bot over here, so having a fire lane over there as well, which is in good range for me until there. And most of the time it will be good range on this flank as well. 2 flash pulses, just watching some small fire lanes. The Warcore just looking over there. Tech B being prone and close to the Sierra. In case he gets down, he can just shoot him and try to get him back. And also covering some small fire lanes over here. Really just some small things. If anything big is showing up over there, to do something. And additionally having a small fire lane over here. So you will only see her if my opponent goes out of cover. So it's a good option, and I'm in good range over there. I'm in cover. My opponent is not in cover. So I think it's worth it for defense purpose. And you will have to face the other main arrows before you face the Tech B. So the idea is to cover my deployment zone with mines and a lot of templates, then move up the board with the impetus orders and the warband-like units, kill stuff with a Tikbalang, and in the final turn move out with John and kill whatever is left over, and then try to grab the objectives. For the mapping purpose, I think this flank is probably the most beefy one, because here are only a few units covering it. So it should be possible, if I want to crack the deployment of my opponent, I will do that from here, most likely. This area here is pretty well covered with a lot of units, so I won't advance from that area. So my opponent placed the Sijuan over there, giving a fire lane over there, and being way back and in cover, so ready to zoom out in his first turn. So my holdback units were the Teuton. Nobody is watching me anymore, so I decide to place him there as far to the front as possible to grab the center objective. This is worth the most points. So this, I'm most interested in that one. And with the submachine gun, my plan is to put at least him into suppression fire at the end with the coordinated order from Joan. Probably with a Tikbalang as well, and maybe with a Digger, since he rolled an HMG. So placing him here in suppression fire will have this line covered and that area covered very well. Since I will advance on this flank, I don't expect anybody to attack me from there. So a submachine gun over there in suppression fire in a heavy unit should cause some headaches to my opponent, because I will probably most likely be in good range and will be tough to deal with, even though it's an impetuous order or an impetuous model, so I don't claim cover at all. So I will probably have this area covered, so it will be difficult for my opponent to advance from his castle. Okay, so this is the state of play after my first turn. As I mentioned, the plan with the Teuton and the digger to use the impetuous orders worked. They moved up the board, the Teuton grabbed the objective and retreated over there. Totally fine, just as planned. For the other parts, I used the impetuous order from Liang Kai to move out, trying to bait the Longya out of his camo, but he didn't do that. So I was trying to get him to shoot me, and hopefully I will dodge. He will waste a Panzerfaust and he's revealed, but he didn't want it to do that. So my next plan was, and we'll probably find a nice move here. My next plan after the moving up the impetuous order was to get the tick balloon on top of the building. I had to climb around this around this thing, and then jumped to this building with the second order, and from there I could just go there and was seeing the Longya and the Sichuan. Longya didn't reveal either, so I just shot at the Sichuan, who got, don't know if he got lucky or not. I was hitting him 5 times with a crit. No, 4 times and a crit. That was rough. He only took 2 wounds. He did well with his armor saves. Whiffed his shot at me because bad range, mimetism, and cover. So he survived in the end, failed guts, but still is in NWI. So should be good for me to have him weakened already. And he's out of the way as soon as Liang Kai will advance, which is the next step. Liang Kai advances. Still, Longya is not revealing, so with the second last turn he moves up there where the Guangxi can see him, and then dodges the chain rifle, and with the last order, according to him, he moves until there to, what is chain rifle? Chain rifle is large teardrop, to basically get the Longya out of cover, because I can place my template over there, which will clip the Longya and the Shaolin. On the first part, both Shaolin and Guangxi declared a chain rifle on me. The Sichuan is still seeing me, so he's declaring a shot at me as well. Maybe I would have managed to stay as far back as so that he can't see me, but I didn't take that into account. So this is a high reward move from my side. I have the opportunity to kill the Shaolin and the Longya because Long Ya has to dodge and maybe fail that, and then has to do an armor save. Shaolin has to do a straight armor save. So I can take out 2 units. That works fine. If not, I will eat 2 chain rifles and the shot of the Spitfire. But I'm NWI, so there's an opportunity that I will survive at least 2 hits. What happens? It's likely that I will die, but I think it's worth it. Removing these 2 units and maybe taking out the Liang Kai was worth a try. What turned out, Liang Kai goes in NWI, so no problem here. The Shaolin dies to the to my chain rifle, but the Long Ya survives, but is revealed now. I'm then trying to shoot the Long Ya with the Tikbalang. He doesn't manage to kill the Long Ya. I think I whiff a lot of shots. He's shooting me with a Panzerfaust. And he's taking the rest of the armor saves. But then I decide to go for the TR bot first, because I consider him more of a threat. He's watching that area and causes problems to my bounty hunters, so I decide to fix him first. And he managed to just shoot him into unconscious level 2. But I'm running out of orders there. So he just has to stay there. It's not a big deal. I'm in a good overwatch position. I'm attack up here, so this flank is safe, so shouldn't be a problem for him. So group 2, I decide to move the Beast Hunter to the center, moving prone. Probably, yes, I had to move prone because the Long Ya was still living, and placing a mine over there to maintain my cover in the center. I wasn't able to grab the objective yet, but I'm thinking of doing that in the later turns. So then coordinated order, doing Joan of Arc, Tikbalang, Teuton and the Digger into suppression fire, where the Teuton and the Digger are the main objects I want to have there in suppression fire. So far I'm pretty happy with that first turn. I did take out 2 units. I'm in a threatening position up here, so I'm fine with that. So now we are at the end of my second turn. So my opponent did his turn, and then I did my turn. So my opponent wasn't able to achieve a lot. The Liang Kai was standing over there, so the first move was the Sijuan moving there and getting repaired, trying to shoot the Liang Kai, but Liang Kai with his mimetism managed to dodge out of line of sight. And beside that, my opponent tried to moved up the Tiangao to the objective with impersonation state, which was a smart move. I had to try discover with the Beast Hunter and revealed my Hexer to discover him as well. And then he was standing in the open, but he decided to just smoke him with the Shaolin, which was a cool move. And then he just grabbed the objective with his Tiangao and retreated with him. And I wasn't able to shoot him. I'd preferred to shoot him, but smoke prevented him from doing that. So he's basically staying in his castle. There's not much he can do. He's repairing a bit, grabbing the objectives a little bit, but he's forced to stay there because I have a lot of Overwatch. I have a lot of units watching the board, so there's not much movement he can do. That was basically his turn. On my turn, I'm doing a little bit of stuff. I'm shooting the long yar with my tick balang. He did put the long yar into camo again, so I tried to bait him out of the camo with my bounty hunter this time, and he succeeded with that. So he revealed and shot my bounty hunter to death. So I lost him, but now the long yar is revealed again, so the tick balang takes him out. The Hexa sniper takes out the TR bot, because I'm afraid he might come back. And then I move the two-turn knight. He did start over there and then moves here. Dodges the mine, reveals or dodges. How does he do that? He stays there, and we have this Gulang mine layer. He's dodging into line of sight, not gaining line of sight to the Shaolin yet, and then declares a discover shoot with a submachine gun. My opponent is afraid. I don't have. I deny him cover, so he reveals and dies to the 3 shots of the submachine gun. Then the Teuton can keep moving over there. I think dodging the Shaolin, or the Shaolin dodged versus my move. And somewhere over there, I think he got prone and fulfilled the mapping. Since he's a specialist operative, he's rolling on 13, which worked fine. So I have the first 3 objective points secured. Then, since Shaolin and Long Yar are dead, I decide to go that back route. They are dodging quite a bit, but nothing really matters. So the Teuton moves over there, tries to shoot a Panzerfaust at the Guangxi, which fails. He moves out of, dodges out of cover. Then the Tick Balang tries to shoot the Guangxi and fails again. Guangxi gets over there, which gets him out of line of sight of the Teuton. So I don't have to care about him anymore. Teuton is moving down there. Not sure if I think actually I shoot him in the second time with another Panzerfaust, and he just goes into Doggett, so I don't care about him anymore. And Teuton tries to get over there, getting rid of the Sijuan. Sijuan decides to put a light flamethrower at me. I'm shooting at him with his submachine gun. He's making all his armor saves, and I fail 3 armor saves in a row. So Teuton is dead. So no more attacking from that angle. I think it was still a reasonable move. I think, yeah, it's +3, -3, so I'm shooting on 13. AP, even against an Sichuan, is pretty nice. The other opportunity would be to just stay there and shoot the Hazien, which is in bad range, or at 0 range, shooting in the back. But still he's an armor 5 or armor 4 unit as well. So not sure who I should have engaged first, but I was afraid if I shoot him first, he would turn, and I would face him directly, so I thought it might be better to just try to get rid of the Sijuan. Didn't work out. Still not too much of a problem for me, I think, so far. So I tried to attack with a whole lot of units. Still have the Liang Kai on this flank. This area is totally cleared now. I have the center objective. I think I will be able to grab this objective in the end. And I'm still having most of my units on the board. So I'm feeling pretty confident here. But let's see how the game... Okay, so we are again talking about two orders, 2 turns. So it's after my 3rd turn. So my opponent activated, and he did move the Hazian, trying to, or he put a lot of effort to put smoke in this area and tried to grab something or shoot something with the Hazian. He tried to get in his holdback unit of a Cube Jäger, but this didn't work out too well, and we agreed this would have probably have been a play for the 3rd turn. He wasn't able to get it in on that side safely. He wanted it to have it to go to my deployment zone and start mapping my deployment zone. There was a really small point over there in the edge where my Halot and TR bot weren't able to see him, and the sniper wasn't able to see him either. But from there it was just too difficult to progress into my deployment zone. He would have to go over there, but still facing the mine. As soon as he would have stepped up here, he would have faced the TR bot and the Halot. So it would have been difficult. Even throwing smoke over there, the mine would have gone off on him while he passes here. So I think in the end there was never an opportunity for him to get the Cube Jäger into my deployment zone without trying to dodge. And that's the risk I wanted to bring on the board. You have to do the dodge on -3 and go for the risk that your specialist dies. And then still, since he's only a paramedic, he would have had a whip on -6, so trying to succeed on a 7. So a little bit of a risky play, and did cost him a lot of orders, and he got confused in that turn. So I think the whole turn was basically mostly a waste of orders, which turned out because he didn't get a lot achieved. The Shaolin did dodge over there. I think he already even threw smoke over there before he realized he just can't make it. He then did run out of orders in group 2, and the Hazian moved up over here with their smoke covering him from my multi-sniper. My digger dodged in the meantime, so the idea here was to give him some bad decisions. Over there with a chain rifle, I was able to place a template, so both are within the template. I got a shot for free from the Hazian, which I think he ended over there, which was perfectly fine for me. I have the opportunity again to take out a Shaolin and maybe even damage the Hazian. but take the risk of dying, but I can survive that with I think armor 3 if I get lucky, and if not, for me taking out the Shaolin was worth it, because this is a smoke for the last turn, and he can smoke the objectives with him, so taking out the Shaolin was worth for me the trade with the other opportunities as well. So I think that was okay. In the end, the Digger got unconscious in that move. The Hazien is shooting him in 0 range band, hitting him sometimes, and he goes unconscious, and then Hazien retreats. And that was basically the whole play of my opponent, trying to fix something here and just staying there. So beside that, I'm setting up for my final turn. I'm moving out with Joan of Arc, moving to the center. Here I get a small line of sight with the Cube Jäger over there, shooting him and killing him. And then I want to go over there. I'm using, I think, 2 or 3 coordinated orders in this turn to advance a lot of units. One is the Tikbalang moving to the objective. I'm moving the Moonstrucker, which is not relevant, but I'm also moving the Tech Bee around here, because I want to grab the objective with the Tech Bee. She is a specialist operative, so the best opportunity in range for this objective. The idea is to have mapping and have all 3 objectives before I go into the final turn, and should be safe with that. And then trying it as hard as possible for my opponent to grab anything. So she's moving up, coordinating everybody else to move the whole 4 units up the board. And then the Tech Bee, I think they managed to get somewhere over there. Tech Bee crawls over there and tries to hit the button. I think 5 or 6 times. Since we are in the final round, it's on -3, so it's on 9. But I whiff them all. So in the end, my whole order pool is soaked empty, and I'm not able to claim that objective, unfortunately. Final move is, because I want Joan of Arc to cover this area, to move out and shoot the flash pulse, which she doesn't do. She fails on that. So I'm a little bit stuck here. Group 2 is about the Sierra jumping on top of the building, also to provide coverage about this area, and the Hilot moving over there to also gain overwatch in this area. The Tikbalang uses its irregular order to go into suppression fire. And I think the Liang Kai moved up with its impetuous order. So I was trying to set up a defense as good as possible to see how that works. It was unfortunate that my Tech Bee didn't succeed with that, but this can happen. So with this defense, I go into the final turn. Okay, so we are in the final turn, and my opponent did pull off pretty good moves, which I really have to give him credit for. He Did use the Celestial Guard to move out here and shoot the further away smoke template, which denies any thing to be seen by the hexer, and then moves out a little bit more to put a second template into the front. To do that, he did spend his last command tokens to bring everybody to group 1, and this is his only play he could try this turn. So the main goal is to get the center objective here. He then moves the Celestial Guard up the board, eating the mine. He even survives. I think he does a move just to free the movement from the mine, and he survives. And then the Moonstrucker moves out here, trying to grab the objective, and he succeeds on the second try. He's a specialist, so he's trying that on a 10. Since there's everywhere covered with smoke, I'm not able to do anything against that. I think the Hilliard and Joan trying to dodge, but there were never really a chance for them to deny the Moonstrucker to do that. After that, there's only one order left, so nothing really else he could do. With that, he has the center objective, which provides 3 objective points and 1 of the other consoles, so it's 5 points. For me, it's I finished the mapping and 1 objective as well, so it's 5-5 each, which makes it a draw. So for my opponent, deciding to go second totally paid off. He had a good move for the last turn. He played very conservatively. He wasn't leaving his castle a lot. So this way he was able to still get to flip 1 console in the final turn. And I wasn't really able to deny him that. Without having MSV, there was not much I could do about that. This obviously would have totally changed if the Tech B would have grabbed the third objective, because he had only orders for 1 play and not 2. So maybe he would still have had the opportunity to move out and try to swing this objective again with this last order. But that's just a swing, and it didn't happen. So this was a good move. Another opportunity he would have had is trying to go for the mapping by putting the Tiangao into Cybermask and moving up the board. If he would have managed to pass this area without being revealed, he might have just moved past the mine, but there were a lot of units that would have discovered him. The Joan of Arc, the TR bot, this regular standing up there. There's just maybe even over there the Hilliard. There would have been a lot that would have tried to get him out of his camo state, and then he's again still a killer hacker. So he gets a -6, so he has to do the mapping on my deployment zone on an 8. So I think this would have been the way more risky play. So trying to go for the center objective was a lot more plannable and turned out for him very well. So this was a very nice game. We had a lot of interesting moves. One especially with the template, getting him out of camo. One with the trading my digger by placing a template over a not activated model. We had a little bit of discussion and talking about how to move the Cube Jäger over there. So it was a lot of fun game. Even though, unfortunately for me, it just turned out to be a draw. But he deserved it. I mean, that final turn was just very well played. And I wasn't able to do anything against that.